Hi guys, welcome to our daily encounter. In 2 Kings chapter 3, we have a situation in which the king of Israel and the king of Judah and the king of Edom go to Elisha to see if they should go up to battle against Moab. And it's interesting what Elisha does. It says in verse 15 that he said, "So now bring me a musician." And it came about when the musician played that the hand of Yahweh came upon him. And then he goes on to give them the word of Yahweh. But it was after he called a musician, and the musician began to play. And this is a very interesting thing, that somehow this music that was played allowed Elisha then to be opened up to the hand of the Lord coming upon him, and him being able to give this word. And there certainly seems to be a connection to music and the spirit, and even to the spiritual life. There's something that music does to us. It does to our hearts, it does to our spirit, to our soul. There's something that music does to us that other things just can't do. If you remember, when King Saul had the evil spirit that would come upon him, they would have David come and play his harp, and that would soothe King Saul and help him in those situations. And we just know from personal experience that there are times in which, we listen to music and it calms us down, or maybe it gets us excited again, or it causes us to be joyful. Maybe it lightens our step. Whatever the case may be, music has a way of really directing the streams of our soul. And that's a very important thing to remember when it comes to the spiritual life, because oftentimes we find ourselves dry within. We perhaps are struggling to really have a heart devoted to the Lord. Maybe we're physically tired, or maybe we're mentally tired. Maybe we're just drained, or maybe there's nothing really wrong with us. We're just having a really hard time of connecting with God and really opening up our spirit to Him. If ever we find ourselves in that type of situation, it might be helpful to just allow music to do what it does. Maybe we could begin to sing some of those old hymns, under our breath, or out loud, or maybe listen to music, even if it's just classical music or something like that, or listen to worship music, whatever it might be. Just allow music to kind of get things moving again, get the juices going again, in which we can then have our spirits open up like a flower to the Lord and become alive again, to where perhaps it will give us that little extra edge, that little extra push to enliven our spirits and to connect with God again. And so maybe this text will give us an opportunity to remember this, how important music can play a part in the spiritual life. And we definitely don't want to have the experience that the Jews had in our reading in the Psalms today, where they hung up their harps. Elisha is calling for music, and they gave up their music. We want to be people who allow music to do what it does, to help us. We need all the help we can get when it comes to the spiritual life. Again, to help us to cultivate that relationship with God, to connect to Him, to enliven our spirits, and to do the things that that music does. So here's some things we can reflect on and think about as we do our reading today. With that, guys, I do thank you for watching the video today. Hope you guys have a great day. Love you guys. God bless.